Hey gang, welcome to FoundFlix. I just got back from Los Angeles, home of Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights, the preeminent horror theme park experience. I've gone for the past several years and it's always a total blast for any horror fanatic. If you're not familiar, during the Halloween season, Universal Studios is turned into a horror complex, chock full of haunted houses which they call mazes. This year's lineup is incredible, including some of the best franchises around, like Freddy vs. Jason, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Halloween. Oh, and of course, Krampus! How cool is that? So I wanted to give a review of my time there and give a rundown of the highlights of each of the mazes. I did actually try to film inside the mazes when I was there, but my phone camera absolutely sucks in low light. This right here is the footage I got from the Freddy vs. Jason maze. Pretty spooky light there, huh? But I was able to find a ton of other channels that got way better footage than I ever could. So all the footage I'm using comes from Theme Park HD, so check out their channel to see the full maze videos. Also, I have to point out that the footage completely loses any of the atmosphere of actually being in the maze. It's not like I actually get scared and think Jason is going to come stab me or something, but when it comes to jump scares, I am admittedly an easy target and they do get me every time. Anyway, this year I really liked all the mazes and would be hard pressed to pick an overall favorite. They were all great, well, except one that was a bit of a letdown, but I'll get to that in a minute. Chainsaw Massacre was just straight up awesome and really impressed me despite its relative simplicity. The sets felt really dirty and real, and the rotten food and stuff sitting around everywhere is just disgusting. The first scene is even really effective as we enter Sawyer's barbecue and the old man is yelling at us, sort of threatening us, and he screams to kill them, unleashing Leatherface from the wall. We go deeper into the movie seeing Leatherface chopping up someone for meat and a really spooky family dining room scene. Again, the rotting meat covering all the plates is so gross. This was a maze they took advantage of smell, a pretty cool concept. And this time it came via kind of an earthy smell, and again, it fits in really well with the gritty feel of the movies and heightened the overall reality. I also thought I smelled tobacco at one point, but that might have just been an actor taking a smoke break or something. This maze very accurately recreates iconic scenes from the movie, starting with Reagan walking down the stairs all upside down and crazy looking. Since it all takes place in one house, you go through separate rooms, encountering Pazuzu along the way, and re-enter Reagan's room as her possession becomes more intense. It actually felt a little confusing at first, like I was going in a circle, but each time we see Reagan getting worse, escalating to her floating over the bed, and of course later the head spinning and projectile vomiting. This one wasn't quite that scary, but it still was really well done. This sticks to parts 1 and 2 of the series, taking us through a house in Haddonfield, ending with Loomis firing at Michael. We enter the streets and end up in the hospital from part 2. It was really intense seeing Nurse Karen's death scene recreated here. Super cool. But to me, the highlight of the maze is when you enter a dark room, filled with these glowing pumpkin head masks. There's so many of them, and you know some of them are real and some are mannequins, but it's impossible to tell the difference. The atmosphere in this scene was incredible and very disorientating, and a very eerie, ethereal version of Mr. Sandman sets the tone very well. After this, we enter a large pumpkin facade and navigate the guts of a pumpkin. And this was just way awesome. This section might be my favorite overall. It was so incredibly different and fun to experience. The only real letdown of the entire time was Eli Roth's Terror Tram. The theme on this one changes every year, and it always involves getting off the studio tram and walking through the sets, including plane wreckage prominently seen in War of the Worlds, and whatever the theme is, romping around the grounds and hiding in rooms at Bates Motel. This aspect is always really cool, and I didn't have a problem with the theme involving killer clowns, but this one just felt really short, especially compared to the previous Purge and Walking Dead ones that really took advantage of all the space at their disposal. This one just seemed designed to get as many people through as quickly as possible and not really providing a complete experience. You got me again, Eli. Freddy and Jason are back at their eternal battle in this maze inspired by the movie of the same name. We see details of each character separately, starting with Freddy and then heading to Crystal Lake. It adds some new scenes and ideas not seen in the movie, like young Jason being consumed by the Freddy worm. The biggest scare for me though came in this one room where behind mesh, Freddy is on one side and Jason is on the other, and you have to walk through. Unfortunately, as soon as I started walking, Jason locked in on me, again, easy target, so Jason is slowly lumbering alongside me, staring me down. Then on the other side of the hall, he lunged out with his knife at me, scared the absolute bejesus out of me. But my absolute favorite thing about the maze is the end. In the final scene when I went through the first time, Freddy had decapitated Jason, and a headless Jason body springs at you. But then the second time I went through, the victory had switched, and now Jason was holding Freddy's head, similar to the ending of the movie. This was a really cool and unexpected way for them to play with the idea that their battle will never truly have a victor. Krampus makes its debut at Horror Nights, and this is probably the maze I was most hyped for. Just the idea of there being a maze based on the movie was awesome. awesome. Fortunately, it didn't disappoint and probably features the most well-designed scenes and overall style. They're able to capture memorable scenes from the movie, including the evil gingerbread men causing mayhem in the kitchen. Even cooler in this part is that they add the smell of gingerbread. I really like the novelty of the smells, what can I say? A similar extra touch like this happens when we enter a room full of snowmen. A cold blast of wind is felt from above, and again, it really adds a lot to the feel of the particular scene. Another cool thing I knew about this maze is you can tell a frozen delivery man outside a password and get a Krampus postcard. I was able to get a card, lucky me, but since Krampus was the very first thing I did, had to hold onto it for the entire time I was at Horror Nights. But it was worth it. With the American Horror Story maze, they highlight big characters and moments from several seasons of the show, and definitely pick some scary ones to highlight. Even just Rubber Man popping out from behind paintings and shit is pretty scary. Basically, you walk through separate themed doors to pass into each season. In particular from Murder House, the girl sitting on the stairs creeped me the hell out. It was super unsettling for some reason. I kept waiting for her to jump at me, and it never happened. This place does have a tendency to keep you on edge like that. But I'd say the best was Freak Show. The design was really cool and spot on with this one. You go through a big carnival entryway and into a show of a magician sawing a woman in half. And of course, Twisty keeps popping up, and he is one scary looking bastard. It really was impressive how much they were able to cram into one maze, and warrants going through multiple times to pick up all the details. After several years of success at Horror Nights, The Walking Dead was recently given a year-round attraction at Universal. Since this is a permanent attraction, it's way more solidly designed and well built, and it feels like it has the polish of a full theme park attraction. This is another that takes us through several major scenes and locations from the show, starting in Harrison Memorial Hospital. But I think the prison section is most effective and feels the most immersive. I especially like when we see a survivor opening fire on zombies near us, holding them at bay so you can escape. It's very reminiscent of being in a tense situation seen many times in the show, and it's very effective. You can tell they spent a lot of money on this one, and it was worth it. Alright guys, that's my rundown of the mazes from Horror Nights 26. I already can't wait for next year. I was thinking about bringing a GoPro or something to film with, so you can see me actually react to stuff and how much of a wuss I am. The theme park HD guy is completely unaffected by the scares. Whenever he sees someone pop out at him, he's just kind of like, and continues filming every square inch of the room. It's kind of impressive, really. Anyway, which maze sounds the coolest to you? And have you ever been to Horror Nights before? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching Found Flicks. See you next time. Hey guys, hope you liked my Horror Nights video. For more Halloween fun, make sure to check out my top horror TV series and horror movies available right now on Netflix.